So we're out here on our property. We moved in about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and so we're looking at what needs to be done and evaluate some things. And we've got, this is an apple tree, believe it or not. It's what you would call a mature fruit tree, very mature. But a lot of the trees around here, they're just sort of tangled and a mess, and so we need to prune this one back. And we were looking at it, and it's got these tiny little apples on it, these pitiful little things, and it's trying to produce fruit, but it's just got so much tree that it can't push those nutrients to the fruit. And so we got to prune it, we got to trim it back. And some of this, as you can see, some of these branches are big, so we're cutting off, but they're dead. So we're cutting off some of that dead wood that's been there for so long, and then there's a bunch of little stuff growing, and it's good, it's got life, there's just too much of it. And so it winds up working against us. And on top of just the tree and itself and the overgrowth and the dead wood, as you might be able to see behind, we got bamboo, lots of it, and we'll focus on that bamboo maybe in another video. But it's overgrown. It's an invasive species, and it's grown right up to these apple trees, and so it's kind of choking them out and choking some of the other trees out that we have here. And so not only do we have to prune this tree, but we've got to cut back some of the bamboo and the things that are making it hard for this apple tree to produce fruit. And I think of in scripture, that Jesus tells this parable about a guy who's got a fig tree on his property and it's not producing fruit. He tells his servant, rip it out. And the servant's like, well, how about I clear away around it, dig out around the roots, put some fresh dirt in, and then we'll see if it produces fruit. And Jesus is making this analogy is to our lives. Some people's lives just aren't fruitful. And the reason it's not fruitful is because we've just added too much. There are some things that are there, they've just been there for a long time, whether it's habits or hobbies or things that consume so much of our time and so much of our attention and so much of our energy and our effort that they take away from some of these other things maybe that it's time for us to take up and start to do. And so the little stuff that starts to grow that's good, well, it doesn't get the nutrients it needs, and we don't bear the fruit that we need to bear. And so maybe some of those things that have just been there for a long time, maybe you've even known for a while that, I got to deal with this. I need to stop this. I need to change my focus. I need to put my energy somewhere else. Maybe it's time to do that. The longer you wait, the harder it gets, the more normal it becomes. And it may be a lot of work to start hacking away at some of those branches and pruning some of those things, but it's something that you're going to need to do. And the sooner you do it, the better. And then other times there's things that we take into our lives and that we start doing and giving time and giving energy and giving effort to, that in and of themselves, they're good things. It's just there's too many of them. There's just too many things, and you don't get to all of them. None of them get the attention they deserve. You do all kinds of things, and you do them all poorly because you don't have the time and the energy and the attention to be able to give the effort to those things that you need. And then there's things around you, whether it's toxic people or current events. Maybe you're too tied into the news, too worried about what's going on in the big picture. Of course, we want to be aware and we want to do our civic duty and all of that, but we can't allow ourselves to be consumed to the point where we become paralyzed with fear, or so focused on politics or so focused on something outside of ourselves that we neglect our own house and our own bodies and our own lives. And so, that'd be like the bamboo. We got to clear some of that. We got to create space so that we can be fruitful, and I just hope that you find some encouragement that today. Maybe you identify some things that they're good things, but you just don't have the time for it. And, every time you say yes to one thing, you have to say no to something else automatically. And so maybe you need to sit down and think about, okay, what do I say yes to and what do I say no to? What really needs my attention? What really needs my energy and my effort? What do I need to give my best self to, and what are some things that I need to let go of? Maybe you need to look at your life and go, what are some things that I've just been neglecting for a long time, things that need my attention that I need to either get rid of it or change that focus. I need to prune some things, but maybe you need to be fruitful. We're called to be fruitful. We're created to be fruitful. And if we're not fruitful, well, God has some interesting things to say about that too. Right? Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes. The ones that aren't fruitful, he cuts off and throws them into the fire. We need to take these warnings seriously and evaluate our lives and look at these areas. Maybe we need to prune a little bit. We need to get rid of some things. We need to create some space, create some margin, as some like to say, and give fewer things our best self. I hope that's been an encouragement to you.